Your Cowboys offensive coordinator sitting down with us here on The Fan. Do you know the code to your wife's phone?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Why? Mine is
Why?
2. Why? Mine is 2. I feel like I need to make myself not sound crazy. If you have the access code, I feel like it's like you're snooping or going through it. I always go and get pictures. My wife is horrible about sending photos of our son, moments, or the big share thing. I don't know how it works, but I go into her photos and I send all the pictures to myself. Why are you smirking like you don't believe me?
Stay away from the hidden photos.
Hey.
You don't want to,
yeah.
You don't want any part of that.
Yeah, but you have the code.
I do have the code, yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our kids have the codes, too. So
no.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
How many kids?
Once they find out, we got 3.
And what are the ages?
Coming up on 8, and then 6 and 3.
Okay, what is the number one thing that entertains your kids in terms of the game on the phone? I need this. I have a 2-year-old, or TV/Netflix. Who's their hero right now for the different ages?
Oh, as far as the phone, it's either a game for the older ones or the younger ones. It's all about the photos.
Okay,
they'll watch videos and pictures of themselves all day long.
Yes. So, what's the game?
The game, it changes every other day.
Okay. All right.
Every other little kid's game that he'll go from Sudoku to some little card game to the next one. So.
Man,
really?
Your kids are a lot more advanced than mine.
Wow.
And what about on TV?
But on TV, that's a great question. It's a good one.
Or do you not know? You're just you're not.
They roll through all of it. They roll through all of it. They got Amazon videos. They got Netflix. They got.
So it's not like you can't just shout out Bluey. You can't just name SpongeBob. You can't just name someone automatic. Mickey.
No, they'll do a little Mickey. Younger ones, older ones are starting to get a little bit more. We're going to like.
Henry Danger?
It's not cartoons anymore. Okay,
yeah.
So we're progressing. We're getting into real movies. So
all right.
It's kind of fun.
All right. Kellen Moore sitting down with us here on Shan and RJ 105.3 The Fan. How many new plays do you come into a season with? Like, do you come in with like, hey, I got 20 new plays I just created, or is that even possible with everything that the league has already seen and that you already incorporated it?
I think there's not a whole lot of like 100% new plays. Usually it's variations to different things. I think from our standpoint, you're probably playing with personnel and just the presentation of plays. Plays are plays, but there's always going to be a little change throughout each off season, and so I don't know what the percentage is. I'd be a really bad guess at that. Somewhere in that 20%. There's always 20 to 30% probably change each offseason just because you're going to change personnel and you're going to change different styles.
How hard is it in the second half of the year to give different looks or continue to do different things that defenses haven't seen in the second half of a season?
Second half of the season, I think you're probably trying to run things that play off of stuff that you ran earlier in the season. The balancing act, I think, for us is as the season progresses, we practice less, and it becomes more jog through, and just because of the physical wear and tear of a season, and so you're always balancing out how much variation you can present and stuff, and so you're trying to build off of that, and then this is obviously a big aspect of training camp, so that you can fall back on some stuff that, hey, we want to give it a shot, we want to try something, we may like it. And it may not show up until later in the year, but we want to at least give ourselves some different presentations, some different looks that we can use as the season progresses.
I've heard, Coach, Bill. I'm old enough to know when Bill Parcells was here, and he would say like, they don't really call it. There's no really such thing as a bad play. It's like bad execution. Is that a philosophy that still works in the league?
It's a great question. I think biased from my vantage point. I mean, you're gonna call plays, and you're gonna watch it, and you're gonna say, "Oh, that was a really dumb call." It looked a lot better, Monday through Saturday. But that happens. Obviously, I totally understand that. But you're always looking at it from your vantage point. How can I improve? How can I get better? And so, certainly that pops through your mind plenty.
So when you call a play, like, do you know, based on just the look the defense has given you after you've called, like, oh man, we're screwed. Like, we caught this ain't gonna work right now.
There's a few times that it's really a odds assessment. Sometimes you watch a thing kind of as it develops, and you're like, the odds are probably decreasing as we look at this thing. But sometimes guys make plays, and that's part of football.
What do you say, Kellen, to those that are concerned about the loss of offensive personnel? You lose your number one in Amari. You lose your right tackle. You're throwing in rookies. Wide receiver depth is now an issue. What's your response to some of those worries from Cowboy fans?
No, I think this is kind of the evolution of football seasons. When you go over the course of year after year, there's always different times where you lose guys, unfortunate, guys that you love that were a part of this thing and did some special things. And now it's other guys' opportunities to take advantage of these things. I mean, we got guys who we brought in here that we were really excited about, certainly in the receiver room, that they came in here for a reason, and now they get their chance. There's plenty of, not highly drafted guys that have become guys in this league. Cowboys have had plenty throughout the years, and so there's great examples of guys who, when they do get this opportunity, they go for it and they take advantage of it.
Where have you seen the most improvement from CD with maybe whatever he chose to focus on in his offseason?
I think the mental side is obviously really, really awesome to watch. Just that evolution, being that third year where he kind of lines up wherever we need him to line up. He can play all three spots. He can handle all the different volume associated with that, and then you can just tell the confidence, the leadership. He's, it sounds funny, he's the third year, but he's kind of one of the veterans of that group. And
yeah,
so
the other day he goes, "I like my young guys out here." We're like, what? What did you say? Yeah.
Kelly, we spent a lot of last season, end of last year, off season, talking about, I'm not saying forcing it to one guy, but like highlighting a certain player individually. Amari talked about this last year. And you see it on other teams a little bit. Is that, when you're trying to make sure that one guy is that more, on the quarterback or like the play design, like where the ball is supposed to go?
I don't think you ever want to tell the quarterback where to throw it. I think you get yourself into some tricky situations there. There's times where, I think most of that should come on the play design, if you're trying to get it to a certain guy. And so that's something that I'm always learning and growing from. I think there are different opportunities where you can try and focus on a guy, and we're trying to continue to grow in that realm. But at different times, there's certain plays that, hey, just let it play itself out. I think that's the best part of playing quarterback, is just trust your progressions, trust where your eyes tell you, trust what you're seeing from the defense. Get it to guys, and then as the season goes, as game goes, if we need to focus on a target or give a guy an opportunity, we just got to do it probably within the play design, just to give that guy maybe the primary route and those sorts of things.
So let's just say it's Schultz, and you're like, I want to force feed Schultz here a little bit. You just have a list of plays where he's the first read. Is that how it works? Versus you're not going to tell Dak, throw it to Schultz, but he's going to be the first option. Is that how you get someone going or keep force feeding them?
Certainly, I think that's the ideal route. I don't think you ever want to throw it in the quarterback's head, because they can play a particular coverage that puts Schultz in maybe a less optimistic situation, and so you always have those different plays in your back pocket for certain players, and provide if you need to kind of get a guy going, you can hop into those calls.
I want you to address, and hopefully erase this theory that was out there from last year when we were comparing Dak's first half to the second half. The Denver blueprint, the Bronco blueprint that, Vic Fangio was throwing something at you guys you had never seen before. And I'm not trying to take it back to last year, but we're trying to figure out moving forward. Was Dak confused by something defensively? Was that something foreign that the league had not thrown at you guys? What's your response to that?
Every game presents different looks, and I think Vic and those guys in Denver, I thought they did a phenomenal job with us. They played us very aggressive, and I think we missed some opportunities early and kind of got behind, and just kind of were playing catch up the whole game. And so I think that's something that I think Mike's talked about a lot, is just handling those things when you start a game well and get a lead and stay ahead. I think the mojo, the momentum, it carries through, and you just keep rolling. And so we got to find a way to, be able to handle those times where, you miss a couple fourth downs early in the game, you face a little adversity. And so, just spending more time normalizing that, talking about it a lot more, putting ourselves in some of those situations, because inevitably you will have that, during the NFL season.
But you're not concerned about some copycat blueprint that was going to throw Dak off, or that you guys are having a harder time solving? You've seen everything, right?
Yeah, I think you see a lot of different things, and that's the beauty, I think, of an NFL season is we'll go through a bunch of cycles throughout the year that, there'll be something that'll challenge you. And we always say, like, hey, if someone hits you with something in week 1, you're going to see it in week 2. And then if you don't address it, it's going to be week 3.
Yeah.
And then there's, eventually you address it, and then there becomes a new task. And so I think there's this back and forth battle between offenses and defenses. And, it's an evolution. I mean, you can watch it. It's a copycat league, but it's also an evolution league of addressing issues. And once you address it, then someone will find the next move to do.
But there's still a styles make fights kind of element, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Kellen Moore sitting down with us on the Fan. Why are you confident in the run game being even better than at points in times in the second half? Again, we talk about first half versus second half, and the numbers are there. Why are you confident in the run game being better than some portions of last year where it fell off?
No, I think obviously our running backs, I think coming into this thing healthy. I think they obviously dealt with a lot last year, and so I think hopefully the stability can stabilize in the offensive line situation. I think we had a lot of different lineups there. And so from a personnel standpoint, I think we're really, really excited about that. And then, you're always going through the scheme evolution. You're always making little adjustments that I think we're really, really excited about as far as just finding a nice, clean identity there that we can run the football consistently.
What's jumped out about Tyler Smith so far?
Physicality. Probably everyone tells it.
Yeah.
I think he's really physical. And I think the really cool part is how much he's working at this thing. And, he's in those meetings all the time with Jeff and Joe, getting extra time with those guys, spending time with them, and so there's obviously always a huge learning curve for guys coming from college to the NFL, just in the volume of different things that you have to deal with and prepare for, and so I think he's doing an awesome job.
At what stage of camp can you tell about an offensive lineman?
Really, I think these first couple days of pads, they kind of get settled in, and then kind of starting yesterday and leading in the rest of the way, these padded days. Those first 2 days, we always laugh about, the pads are too high, and everyone's kind of, it kind of feels a little bit like a mosh pit half the time in all the run plays. And so it's the first day they've done pads in, however, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. And so now you start seeing those guys settle in, get more comfortable with the pads, and now you're starting to see it more and more.
Zeke versus Pollard is a topic that will not go away ever. And, Zeke has gone from fan favorite to now we focus on his contract and the cap hit. What are we still missing or disrespecting, Kellen, about Zeke's game?
Zeke does a lot of things, and I think that's the awesome thing. I think one thing that's critical is pass protection for those guys. Running backs are just as involved with it as offensive line and handling all the different looks that NFL defenses present to you. Zeke's really, really smart in that realm. He does a really good job with it. We love both of those guys. We want to use, when one guy's obviously needs to be on the sideline for, he needs a blow. The other guy's in there, and then in the middle of that, when we have opportunities to put them both on the field, we're really, really excited about that.
All right, you're a quarterback by nature, dominating in college. The Micah question. Choppy wants him just to be at defensive end. The value, the sack numbers, pressure on the quarterback. Dan Quinn and everyone else, he's going to do both. As a quarterback, would you rather him line up in one position in order to know where he always is, or is it tougher switching back and forth?
No, the versatility is really key. Just really for the presentation and the protections. It makes it really hard on offenses. Just to account
versus
for
knowing
him.
He's coming after you every play. I mean, he could come after you, I guess, at linebacker too.
Yeah, because he can still come against you at linebacker, and now you're compromising the position of how to protect it. Are you leaving a running back on him one-on-one? Are you going to account for him with the offensive line? And so now you're putting yourself into some compromising, challenging positions because if you count for him in the pass protection, now you're potentially putting your running back on a bigger body, and so it's definitely a conflict that's really, really good for our defense.
I'm going to ask you the question that all the drafted players get with all your head coaching interview experience. Did you get a crazy question? I'm not going to ask from who. Did you get something that threw you off and you're like, you were preparing, but you couldn't anticipate a question that one of these owners or teams asked when you were sitting down for the interviews?
That's a great question. I do not know.
Not like, do you prefer? What was the Eagles' question about basketball? They were
playing
Pop Shot?
Yeah, Pop Shot. Yep.
Why would that have any relevance? Do you have any idea?
I like it because
Show competitiveness?
it shows a little competitiveness, but it just opens the guy up. Let's be real. When we go to the combine, all these guys, they're so scripted. They're so prepared.
Yeah.
You got to throw them off. You got to give them a curveball question or just loosen them up a little bit so that you can get a couple more answers out of them.
But you didn't get one in the head coaching interviews?
I don't know. That's a great question, and none that jumps out right now.
All right.
When was the last time you got a parking ticket?
Parking ticket. I don't know.
Parking or
10
speeding
years ago.
ticket last?
Speeding. I think a few years ago. I think when I first got to Dallas or something.
But you're not heavy.
No, you got issues?
I got a parking ticket the other night. Yeah, I got a parking ticket the other day.
Man.
And I'm not going to be able to be here to contest this because it's garbage.
Yeah.
It was 12 minutes after the no parking zone sign went on. It's crap, man. It's
man,
garbage.
thanks for sitting down with us.
California, rough life.
I know.
Thanks for sitting. Don't get him started on California. Thanks for sitting down with us. Fantastic interview. Have a great year.
All right, thanks, guys.